Gejila nekpa cholu no le kumwe ginudu eno nyoga dowo choka kano na chembanya enya odakalungwalo le puko ye ochegba ekohi na ikugego tainu ka dowo choka gbobweka gbo yodele ko.
The first thing we must understand is that anybody may be as strong as David, as fearless as David, as faithful as David, as courageous as David. That doesn't stop challenges of life coming to such an individual.
Odafle na logejia ochedo dulofu gwotubu David ige yufim
of our faith.
And
when they come, the way you face it determines whether your faith is still strong. Adversities will come, but the Bible says if we faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small.
What happened
to David and his men when they were away can happen to anybody. In 1 Samuel chapter 30. 30. From verse 1, and it came to pass, when David and his men were come to Ziklag on the third day, that the Amalekites had invaded the south and Ziklag, and smitten Ziklag, and burned it with fire. Verse 2 says, and had taken the women captives that were therein. They slew not any, either great or small, but carried them away and went on their way. So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire.
Anu David mlache kol nu piei wa olea eni mako tolafa jepem.
And their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captives.
Ne maka anyua mlai kolwa nonyilo mlai nonya kolwa pem elu akponyo gipofie oche.
Then in verse 4, David and the people that were with him lifted up their voice and wept.
David mlache bapioa wajoko kwagichu ene jiku
until they had no more power to weep.
Ya gbechi nema igbuane ka jiku aglagen.
Why were they crying?
Bani ba jikwa.
Souls were involved.
Aodo le glifie.
Human beings were involved.
Aleche ipela nonya.
They were not just crying because of property. They were crying because human beings were involved. And that is telling us something. Do you cry when a soul is lost? Sometimes you see an elderly man crying. There must be a reason behind that. When Jesus approached the city of Jerusalem in Luke 19:41, he wept.
Jesus,
Why did he cry? That God himself could cry. Jesus himself gave the reason there. He said, he looked at them and he said, the things that belong to your peace, you don't know them. That the salvation you need to have, you don't have. Do you cry because of your family?
Aijiku higbi ponukwo.
When the children are carried captives by the devil, do you cry?
Kone bli laikolu okpoyo ichofielo aijiku.
When your wife is carried captive by the enemy, do you cry?
Kone bli konya oyo ichofielo aijiku.
Many people rejoice because my son is in America, my son is in London, my son is schooling in Canada. And they say this one has degree in this, that one has degree in that. But is he born again? The first testimony I want to hear from you is that my son is born again. My daughter is born again. And they are serving God. Not degree there, degree there, degree there. Are you crying because your family members are carried captive by the devil?
Ashalewage yogwe ye kai na ma baju beke bege ye ijopi gwepa yo ijecho yo inyo amanga aijiku flu kaka ipolo ilo nyatang kai na ma ebli yo ipo anyo ichofie.
That was why they were crying. Souls were involved.
Dano yeni ojikwa yabo aipe oche ipelanya.
Human beings were involved.
Atleche obitelanya.
All their wives were carried captive. And so no matter your faith at that time, you have to cry. And no matter your courage at that time, you must cry. Then David had to pray. Let us see in verse 6. And David was greatly distressed. For the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was distressed. And he says, the soul of all the people was distressed. Then look at what follows there. If you look at the last part of that verse 6. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. That's where we know a man of faith. Whatever challenges you pass through, encourage yourself in the Lord. Then our brother asked, how about the prayer that David prayed? Should you go without asking God, or should you ask God before you go? Should you go because you have courage and faith and confidence without asking God? Look at verse 8.